Well, and so, I originally I wasn't gonna do video at all, and then I realized some people prefer like some type of video or like visual stimulation. So then I started kind of, okay, well maybe we can do video. But my real issue, if I'm totally honest, is sometimes I'm just lazy. I don't want to get all dressed up for the camera. So, you know.
You did kind of put that in the text. I was like, I feel you.
Yes,
But
because honestly, sometimes I just don't, I just want to be in comfy clothes and just talk about my thoughts and opinions and but that's okay. So do you know with Zoom then, does it record the audio like from within, or do I need to have my speakers up so I can hear you loudly?
I don't know. This is only my third Zoom interview. So I would just have the precautions just because we don't know.
Just
like I didn't video wouldn't work. That sucks.
That's okay. I'll just turn you all the way up then, just in case. Because I can always dial it down, like with the editing stuff. I do like some noise removal sometimes, and then, because I have dogs and sometimes there's things going on, but that'll work just fine. Okay. Well, with that being said, so a lot of people, when they do the interviews and stuff, like I've noticed that they kind of do this huge introduction of whoever they're talking to, but I always thought it was kind of interesting. I love when they put a spin on it and let the interviewee, or like, who we're talking to, introduce themselves, because then you can kind of share exactly what it is that you want to share with the world about you,
Okay.
Yeah, so I guess that's the first thing, really. Just tell us about yourself. I want to hear, about like how you got started doing what you're doing, what your mission is, and I mean, I've read it through your profile and stuff, but for everybody listening.
Right. Well, first, thank you, Ashley and Taboo Talks for, I don't know, I think we found each other. So that's what's pretty dope. I emphasize that because people are so afraid of social media, and we met on social media, and I think if you use it effectively, it could be a really amazing tool. So I just want to thank you for finding me, or me finding you, and actually having this interview happen. So thank you for that. So yeah, I am. Hold on, that's my daughter. This is mommy duty. Yeah. So,
this is the real stuff I was talking about, though. I love this. This is life. You know what I mean?
I'm on a phone interview right now. What's up?
Okay, I'm gonna ring it.
Oh man. Okay, you're just totally interrupting this interview. Sure. All right. I'll see you in a second. I tell you, between technology and children, it's gonna be
mine's asleep right now. So. I totally get it.
So, all right. So, give me 2 seconds. Let me open the door, and I'll be right back.
Yeah, of course.
I'm so upset that your audience can't see me because I really look cute today. But
I don't know. Maybe your daughter can figure it out, though. Is she text savvy? I'm not really text savvy.
That means we're going to have a part 2. Okay. So, in order to have a part 2, they got who I am, right? All right. Boom.
Yeah.
So, I am Minister Cat. My full name is Catherine Warren Bishop. And I've been an ordained minister since I was 10. I am now 44 and a mother of 3. But I took a pause without knowing that I was taking a pause. I was probably still always ministering out the involvement of my career, but I didn't realize my actual calling until about 3-4 years ago, when I became an ordained minister once again through the Universal Life Church. And I use my ministry as a way not to convert people, but to share the message of embracing God and the existence of God in your life, and what that actually can do to help move and navigate through life. Because since it is a gift, it's not as hard or complicated as it's presented to us. And because it's presented to us in such a difficult way, we don't realize the real gift, and we don't end up enjoying it. So my life is a reflection of what it looks like to embrace and have a good life, and then, know that it's possible. Like, we don't have to all be fucked up out here. I think you just froze.
Did I freeze? I think I'm I'm really listening though. Am I moving on your screen? Oh, see, and I'm hitting my stuff.
No, well, you're back. But that's
Okay,
the good
good.
thing about the freezing, because it stays recording. So yeah, I'm
Good.
gonna have to email it. Yep, but I got you back.
Yes, thank you. So I think, you know what, that's really amazing though. And so that's kind of what the documentary encompasses, is that journey.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. See, and I like that because, I've been digging into that stuff a lot lately. So I didn't believe in God or any kind of, higher being. I was actually studying Buddhist philosophy somewhere around 2000.
Okay.
What is it, 2011? Had a real serious event happen in my life, and that really pushed me during that event when I was looking, to God and to Jesus. It was kind of like, what is it about this belief and this man or being, that I would be calling to him and I don't even believe. So it really intrigued me. And that kind of is what started my faith. I think that's what was so interesting when I was going through your profile. I saw that, but you have such an authentic journey about it. It's not, hey, I'm higher and better than you, I'm not perfect, but it's such an authentic view of what somebody's life will look like going through this journey.
Right. Because I don't think it's about trying to convert anyone. I don't even think it's about trying to make people believe what you believe. I think we're all searching for something, some type of clarity. You're freezing again. I wonder, is it because of where I'm at in the house? Because sometimes the Wi-Fi could be funny where I'm at, but I know that the last guy I did the interview with, he said that it freezes sometimes. So it might not totally be my end. But yeah, that was the one of the things that, because I'm not the typical minister. First of all, I cuss and smoke.
Yeah.
So already take that off.
Yeah.
Because I'm about to smoke this joint right now while I'm on the phone, while I'm doing your interview.
Mm-hmm.
And I cuss like a sailor. So I am not the typical, I got tattoos. I'm not the typical minister. But I think that for every minister, all we're supposed to be doing is sharing a message. So if you share your message, that's what's key. It's not so much even how I live my life, because I'm teaching about the mercy and grace that God has been in my life. I don't teach perfection, because I'm not perfect, and none of us are. And I think that's probably what has been the stigma when it comes to religion, and looking or listening to that minister or that pastor, because you're just assuming that you're supposed to believe what they believe and just go ahead. And if you don't, then you're going to hell. And why would somebody want to keep going somewhere every week and giving tidings to somewhere that they think they going to hell if they do something wrong, and they know the preacher doing something wrong? You know how many people have left the
That's
church?
real. That's real. That's, it's crazy, but that you're so right about that, and that's what deters people. There's something interesting. I was watching a documentary. It was actually on ayahuasca. Have you heard of ayahuasca tea? Like the journey? Have you heard about that? You haven't heard? Oh my goodness. Oh, this is going to be awesome. This is a perfect interview then. So it actually came from my mother. She has shared the link with me because we kind of are like dubbed hippies. We're like really into like holistic and alternative medicine. And especially, it's funny because I work in the scientific side of medicine in a hospital right now, but I truly believe that like God has provided, or whatever anybody believes in, we have the resources that we need on this earth naturally and holistically to kind of cure and prevent a lot of these ailments that we have, right? So it's really amazing to me. I was watching this documentary on like an ayahuasca journey in Peru, and what they do is they sip on this tea, and it's made from a tree bark and some other root, but it's a psychedelic. And it's really amazing to me how they reference the Bible in this and how God designed it you know the term manna from the Bible?
Yes.
So what they're actually saying, and he talked to Joel Osteen and a couple other people, you know, like opinions aside from whoever it is, it was really interesting to hear this individual that is known worldwide for some form of like, you know, religious belief. He even said that manna was most likely a mushroom back in those biblical days. And so what they would do is they would eat these mushrooms or these plants, and it had a psychedelic effect, and that allowed them to have these visions and connect with God on a higher level, because our minds naturally will block those stimulants out, you know, and our minds were like, oh, this isn't possible. We think very human like. And so that's what I thought was interesting, is you would never ever think that, you know, the Bible of all things could possibly even be referencing some form of psychedelic or drug to have a higher connection with God and to really open your mind to what's out there and what he has for us. So I think it's cool because it's a very untraditional way of looking at it, kind of like what you were saying, that you're not the traditional minister. You know, it's about relating and kind of coming together on this common ground of, you know, we're human, and that's a beautiful thing. We're not perfect, but you know, we're going to go through this together, and it doesn't have to be this chain and shackle way of living so that we can avoid going to hell.
Yes.
Exactly. And that's what I said too, because I know you were rolling up. That's what I said too. I was like, oh, you're so lucky, because I do believe that marijuana or any kind of natural herb has gotten such a bad rap for the effects that it has on the human brain, the psychedelics that it gives. But that's no different than alcohol or pills, you know, and to me, it's crazy because this is something natural that is made from the earth. But yet we're okay with spending millions of dollars on these substances that we have man-made and that are destroying families.
I'm going to tell you,
careers.
Because the man-made does exactly what you just said. It destroys families. You know, ain't nobody destroying no family off of cannabis. I'm going to tell you that.
Not at all. If anything, it brings them together.
That my children probably prefer me to be high, because that's the calmness I am. Because I'm an evil bitch if I ain't high. So.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Wait.
That's amazing.
But I mean, but there is a reality to that. There's I believe that the things that are there to damage us is just other forms of blurs and distractions. Because when I drink, I'm not a big drinker, but when I drink, it knocks me out, I'm asleep, or you get so drunk that you don't remember your behavior, or you block out, or you escaping. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. For myself, when I smoke, I'm not escaping anything. When I smoke, and this might sound taboo, or this might sound not 100%, but it really does, for me, gives me a level of calmness so that I'm able to multitask. Mm-hmm. I do my best work when I smoke. I can cook, I can deal with the kids' homework. Well, at that time, I can deal with the kids, I can do whatever projects I'm working on. I'm really able to multitask, where if I'm not high, I might actually be a little lazy and not motivated. Now, I know it does things for different people, but when I notice cannabis users, you know, we always say that our mentals get elevated. But when you're drunk or tipsy, you don't even remember what you did. You know what I'm saying? So why are the cigarettes that kill me off or send me to the hospital with cancer to provide more funds and more money to the government, to the pharmaceuticals? Why are those things, like you said, legal, but the actual things like cannabis is not legal? Because it will bring me to a consciousness for me to act differently in my movements. Because Absolutely. I will have a different way of thinking, because I've taken the time to think about why shit don't make sense. So it's to the benefit of the devil, the man, society, whoever's controlling things, to keep people dull, to keep people without senses, to keep people intoxicated. You know what I'm saying? That's why you got a liquor store on all the corners. You know what I mean? Why? We ain't got no money, but we got enough money for $2 drink. You know what I'm saying? You got mad drunk folks on the corner. But
Yeah.
I mean, think about those things. So that's why I say ministry, people get twisted. Ministry is those that are out there sharing a message of enlightenment. Because I'm not trying to, just because I'm sharing this information doesn't mean you're going to now stop drinking and smoke cannabis. It's not for everyone. My oldest boy, no, not my oldest boy, my middle boy, when he smokes, he gets sleepy and tired. He can't do shit. You know, it does things for different people.
Yeah.
He also got drunk and fucking blacked out of time and almost got kidnapped. He might be lazy when it comes to smoking weed, but being drunk almost made him a fucking sex worker at some sex trade, because he woke up one night, he got drunk one night, and the next morning woke up in a pickup truck. He didn't wake up on a pickup truck smoking weed.
No.
Pickup trucks drinking. And that could have been it for us with him. Or any of us out here, women who get drunk. I mean, I don't want to talk about that, but I'm just saying, I truly believe that there's reasons why certain things are easily accessible over other things that is not.
I agree with you 100%. And I really love what you said about the difference in doing something to escape and the difference in doing it to be productive and to reach a higher elevation of your mind, you know? So that was my biggest thing is even with cannabis, or even with, you know, something like a mushroom, or like they were referencing in this documentary I watched, that manna could have possibly been a mushroom. If you look at all these ancient cultures that still practice traditional and ancient medicines, which we don't do in America, because America is a very new country still, if you look at it, you know, in conjunction with other countries. So we don't practice those ancient traditions and herbal medicines like we probably should be, to balance out. You know, I do think that medicine on the scientific side can be helpful in like an instance of trauma. Like if you get in an accident and your legs get cut off, you know, you might need some surgery. So I do think that there are some life-saving like necessities to it. I don't think that it should be a go-to. If you have a headache, why are you popping, you know, a bunch of ibuprofen? And I'm guilty of it too, because like I'm in the military right now, so I can't just, you know, roll up and smoke, even though my true belief is that it's harmless and that it may do me more good than harm. But I love that, you know, that with cannabis and with you know, natural herbs like shrooms or tree bark or whatever it is that these other cultures are using as a psychedelic. They drink it as a tea or they eat it in their foods, and they're using it to meditate and reach a higher elevation of themselves. So it's very self-developmental, and kind of changes their view of reality versus somebody that's drinking or doing drugs to try to escape from whatever pain or whatever life that they don't want to confront or deal with. It's a totally different thing. And what's happening, I think, and you kind of touched on this too, is that people, like the stuff that is good for you, like cannabis or these natural things that occur, you know, to help you get that mind elevation, is being kind of categorized and mixed in with some of the bad effects of our man-made substances. And it's like, oh, we man-made this, it's controlled, and look how bad it is. You know, imagine something that's not controlled, like marijuana you can grow yourself, or, you know, shrooms or something. So it's almost like a fear type of factor, you know, that they put us in.
Mm-hmm. And then what happens is that even if we're not in fear, just going about your day-to-day life, you end up still paying them, because you pay more in just something as simple as your dentist, because you're not going to a dentist that has a hygienist. So you're going to a dentist that just does the cleaning, but he's not supposed to do the cleaning. He's using it as a cash cow operation. And by the time you're 30s or 40s, your mouth is fucked up and you spend thousands of dollars to get it fixed. Or you do develop cancer, and where they supposedly haven't found a cure, but we're paying them to help fix us, but they're giving it. So I just find it I find it very interesting. I'm one of those people that's want to know, why is it happening? Why are we allowing it? Is there a reason? So
it's like, it's okay to question things. People are so afraid to question.
Seriously, Yeah, man. And I feel like television and movies be trying to tell you stuff. I feel like the government be trying to tell you that they fucking with you. And we don't be listening to entertainment.
It's almost like a sick joke. Like they're telling us just to kind of get a laugh at it, you know, because they do. There's so much. And the thing is, it's so sad to me because you can have the knowledge and the power of knowledge and not be changed by it because you're not willing to change your belief or change the way that you view something. People want so badly to be correct and know everything. I don't care if I make it to age 90. I might have a lot of knowledge, but I still might learn something new, you know? So it's just crazy. People are so unwilling to practice humility for the sake of self-betterment and self-development. We should always be looking to grow and, you know, gain more in ourselves.
But I think that the problem with that is that 2 or 3 things that come to mind. Accountability is one, and the work. So sometimes, most times, it's easier just to stay oblivious. Because if you now know, you got to be accountable and you got to put the work in. So, you know, not a lot of us want to do that. You know what I'm saying? Some of us might have question along the way, but that meant, okay, that means we got to change our thinking. That means somebody was wrong. And, you know, we don't want to put that type of time. It's really easier to stay oblivious. It's really easier to stay in the dark and just navigate through this, what you think is just this one point. Like, people don't realize that we're like nothing. You know, we're like freaking piece of dirt in one speck of the universe.
Yes. You know, and we're going right back to it, you know, when we pass away. So why not reach the highest level you can get to?
Because it's here and gone. It's a second of this entire existence of everything. Whether you believe in God, whether you just believe in science, it's a second. It's a second in the whole big picture. So to me, I don't want to be in the dark for that second. You know what I'm saying? Even in my house, I get mad when the kids close the curtain. Let the light in. I'm mad in the dark in my house. You know like, be in the light so we can really live your best life, because it really is possible. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying shit not gonna happen, but as a whole, you know what I mean? Like, I even think about, like, I hate to say this, but when it comes to, like, let's say really stuff that happened, like our Native Americans, the Holocaust, and slavery, those 3 monumental things that happened in cultures on this land, right?
Yeah.
But everybody wasn't a slave. Everybody wasn't taken, tortured. Everyone wasn't put in. There was some Jewish that lived good lives. There was some Africans that, like, there are people out here living good. We're not all affected, even when we're affected by what's going on. So if we kind of just tune into that light, you'll be surprised how much enjoyment and actual and living life you'll actually be able to have in that second that we're blessed with.
I love that you said that. I do, because that's exactly what I talked about in one of my first episodes about the gender and the race discrimination. Because it does happen, and it's unfortunate on both ends of gender and race, you know, and then if you're a woman of color, even more. Now you have 2 negatives, they say, you know, but I do know that it happens, but I don't think that it holds people back as much as people want you to believe that it does. Because if it did, you wouldn't have an Oprah Winfrey. You wouldn't have, you know, a Steve Harvey. Like, you wouldn't have these prominent figures that are successful and life-changing and people look up to them if it was really running as rampant as people think. I think some people allow it to be an excuse in their life, and if they do experience it truly, that they do experience that discrimination on a gender or racial discrimination, they don't know how to overcome that because they feel like it's out of their hands, when really it's a perfect opportunity to prove people wrong and work harder to get around that. You know, I'm not saying we have to work a little harder, because we might have to, but that doesn't mean it should stop us if we face an obstacle. It's just an obstacle. If it's not race or if it's not gender, it's going to be money. I don't have enough money. You know, it's going to be I don't have enough time. I have a family. It could be anything. It doesn't have to just be what people are putting onto you. An obstacle is an obstacle. Now, how are you going to get through it, you know?
I agree. Which is why we are doing Taboo Talks.
Yes, we are. And it also leads me because so for your documentary, because that's going to showcase this Saturday, correct? Yes.
Yes.
So,
Bronx.
Go ahead.
No, I was pumping up the venue. It's the Bronx, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm actually going to share all that too, because I want people, if they do show it live or if they're updating and stuff, I want everybody to be able to kind of tune into that, because I think you have a very interesting message. Even like when you said it yourself, you're a minister, but you're not the traditional, you know, you don't look and act and walk it, because it's about a message that you have. You know what I'm saying? It's about the message and the relation. And
but wait, I do my best to walk it.
Absolutely.
I will say I do my best to walk it, but I'm imperfect, so I don't think perfection. And I think that's where people get it from. They look at the clergy as supposed to be perfect, but the clergy are still fallible, imperfect humans. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. So we can't. They have given themselves enough power. And that's why when they do fuck up, it's like, oh my God. But how are they any different than you and I from the fuck up? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, human. It's human. And it's a beautiful thing if you're willing to see it that way, you know?
Now, I try not to fuck up.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get it twisted. I try every day not to sin. And for the most part, I'm okay. My biggest sin might be the dicky.
Yeah. But the good thing though too is like walking it like in your personal life, you know, is different from having this image of like perfection and, you know, unattainable goal that people feel like they can't reach. And so that's why when you told me that you were doing a documentary, because somehow, I don't know how, because I was watching your stuff, I didn't even realize the depth of what was going on there. I am interested. How are you showing, if you're able to talk about it, because I don't know how much you can share on it, you know, before the showcase, but how are you showing that message? Is it literally, you know, like cameras following you around? Are you doing interviews? I'm really interested to see like your art and the way that you're communicating it, you know?
Okay. The funny thing about that is I did this film. What's this, 2019, 2018? I did this film in 2016. And this called The Untitled Journey. Plug. This Saturday, it's the Bronx. Bronx Brewery. Come check us. You can't, RSVP is closed. I'm doing video at the same time. I'm doing live, Ashley.
It's okay. I love it.
So I felt I'm actually following the life of an artist. Her name is Aleathia Brown. She's actually like my side partner, my mentor, girlfriend. We work together, fellow artists. We just have a beautiful synergy. But so I'm following her along as an artist, as she's a visual artist, but she's also a teaching artist. So I'm showing her teaching. I'm showing her on the train with her art. I'm just showing what it looks like, and I'm talking to her at the same time about it. Right. But then a component comes in, because most of the time artists are activists. There's some type of community component to not necessarily our art, but who we are in our spirit. So throughout the years, recently in about 2012, an activism component came on called Unveil Unlock. And Unveil Unlock is about unveiling and unlocking what we don't talk about so we can actually truly heal. But we use hair as like our gimmick. We use hair as like our introduction, because at the time she's barehead. I'm barehead. You can't tell your audience because the camera's not working, but my people know I got a French cut. I'm barehead. And so we was using hair as a gimmick to start the conversation, because society, white, black, across the board, we're so connected to hair, but we go through journeys with hair. So we went into that activism component, but then doing that, she almost lost her apartment. And that happens also to us as artists. Like, you see us, like somebody told me the other day, like, you saw when Ava Duvier got acknowledged for, the movie she did, but you didn't see at 41 what that looked like in her house when she quit her job and decided to direct the film. Like, the lights and the Con Ed and the rent and the food and, how we maintain is a lot about the journey of an artist, but you don't really, like everybody, you don't really get to see that part. So I wanted to be able to show that part without looking like we were complaining, but just the reality of it. And then, so that was the way the film was. But now, because 2 years later, I've gotten to have more footage, more around the journey of an artist and the acceptance of embracing your art and not letting that activism component take over. So the way that the film is being shown on Saturday, no one has seen it yet because it's a totally brand new, different film. I put the activism component in as a touch, but I really went and talked about what it looks like when you really just embrace just being an artist. And that's really like my journey, like all of our journeys, we get so sidetracked. We get sidetracked because we might have to take on different gigs to eat. We get sidetracked because different opportunities might present itself. We get sidetracked because the community activism component may come in. But when we pause and let all that noise and all of it go and just say, you know what, I got to live for me. Because at the end of the day, Ashley, I tell you not, it's about self-preservation. You got to live your fucking life, man, while you got it and while you here. You know what I'm saying? So all that other shit you want to do, you here to do, none of it's going to work if you're not happy, if you're not taking care of you. And when she was finally able, this particular artist, when she was finally able to just think about being an artist, she ended up going to Paris a couple of months ago. And then she went to Miami. But the whole Paris trip and London as an artist and showing and exhibiting her work. And the same thing happened to me. When I focused on my calling, not the retail, not the community activist, just my calling, then everything began to fall into place. Then my television show came. Exactly, because I just kept in my purpose and not trying to fill all these holes and voids because I needed to survive.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a huge message. You're right, because so many people play it safe, and we talk all day long that we have these passions and we have these desires of things we want to do, but we're so unwilling to put the action to it, to get it done. And that means whatever it takes, not playing it safe, because a safe is a 9-to-5, which is fine. But if you don't want a 9-to-5 and you're not living your true dream, when you're 90 years old, like, you're going to look back and really wish that you hadn't missed out on this life, because it's short.
Right.
It's short. That's crazy. So
that's why the film is called The Untitled Journey, because it's all about journeys. You know what I mean? And I couldn't come up with one word or one quote to describe all of ours, because your journey is different from mine, but you still have a journey, and I guarantee there are definite similarities. Even though your journey is different from mine, I'm sure we got some of the same.
Absolutely. We do. You know what? And because I heard you talking briefly about age and stuff, and you were talking about how old you are. I'm actually 24. I'll be 25 in 2 months. So to me, I mean, I'm probably, do you have kids my age? Everybody tells me they have kids my age when they're in their 40s.
Almost. My oldest son is 23 or 24. I lost count.
So we're right there. We're right there then. So it's amazing to me. And that's why I love being able to talk to people from all walks of life, because you've already gone through this, and I'm able to hear your story and be motivated that it's okay to take that step. It's okay to take that leap of faith, whatever it is that you're doing, because you don't want to look back. And here you are, you know what I mean, having been there, done that, and you're still going harder than ever because it's that important.
Right. That's crazy. And to be honest with you, I'm here for you, because my sisters and my brothers unfortunately, but fortunately, we've gotten the light bulb moment now. You know what I'm saying? When you get to your 40s, you kind of figure it out and you become,
Yeah.
like, okay. And then when you get to your 50s, you're comfortable with your life and you're like, I'm good. But 30s and 20s, you all fucked up. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
How are we really helping you? And the shit that you're going through is okay because we went through it. And the worst thing to say is, well, when I was 24, young Ashley.
Yeah.
You don't want to hear that. What you want to hear is,
Yeah.
Ashley, hey, this is the shit that's getting ready to happen, and you got one or two things you could do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or Ashley, listen to your gut. Listen to that third eye. Listen to that spirit, because that shit is real. But nobody's having that conversation. Well, not as often. They are now. You know what I'm saying? That's why I love when
recently, but you're right. Because if you look at the generational thing, I was lucky to have young parents also. They're in their mid-40s. And I was lucky to not have to grow up with, not lucky, but I'm lucky for where I'm at now. Not to have grown up with parents that were trying to force me to be a doctor or a lawyer or, something that's going to make a lot of money because then I'll be happy. I was lucky to be raised by parents that wanted me to express my opinion and figure myself out, and not everybody is that fortunate. And I'm not saying I had the best childhood because it was rough sometimes. It was very rough. But it wasn't the worst, and those obstacles, like we talked about earlier, is what led me to this today. So I'm hoping, with my daughter, that I can kind of raise her in that same mindset, and hopefully we can start to figure out, these things earlier and earlier. Like I said, I'm 24 and I'm having these revelations now and this mind-opening experience because of the adults that I have around me and that I was raised by, to encourage me to take those leaps of faith and to figure myself out, and not try to put me to this title or, put me on this path that they think is going to make me the most money, make me happy. You know what I'm saying? And it's this crazy video too. I watched this video. It was talking about how money can buy you a clock, but it can't buy you time. So it's like, you can have all the money you want, but until you figure out what your true heart beats for and what you want to do, you're going to get to the end of that rope and you're going to look back and wonder who you are, what happened. So, but as far as your documentary goes, what kind of led you to express that through film? Like, what was your calling for that? Because I'm sure being in the industry, it's a tough industry to break into. So it's a very bold way of expressing yourself.
Well, as I found out even yesterday, but again, that's why I'm telling you, everything I do believe is really divine. Give me 2 seconds. I'm sorry, Ashley.
That's okay. I'm gonna sip on my tea.
My phone died, and I'm really loving what we're talking about, so I want to get it on another phone.
Yes. No, this is great. I'm excited about this. And like I said, I don't do a ton of editing because I truly think, and I'm so glad that you're like on the same page with this too, that like authenticity is just so real. If this thing ended up being an hour, if somebody wants to listen to it or fast forward through it, that's their obligation, but I'm not going to cut and paste and try to make it look like this perfect, like we didn't have any mistakes or the internet didn't cut out or whatever the case is. Like, people can't relate to that.
They definitely can. And I think that's what also has been people's connection to me. Just a relatable, I don't try to put a pretense of being more. And not that I think what I'm doing is less. I appreciate, embrace what it is. And I think that's how the movie came about. And that's why I was saying everything I really truly do believe is divine, because this wasn't even in my mind the setup. All right, so real quick, this is what I'm gonna tell you. So the movie initially was a gig because I was the documentarian for Unveil Unlock. So and then Unveil Unlock, the organization I was affiliated with, Aleathia had hired, we got a television grant gig. And she hired me to be the stage director because I've always kind of been like in production and management, kind of sort of that sense. Never behind the camera, but kind of always helping to maintain structure. So a woman came to us and said, I think you guys should make a movie about what you're doing. Now, she ran a film festival, and she said, I will put your film in the festival if you put this movie together. No, don't wow.
That's
she
a
didn't
big
put us.
deal, though.
So wait, so Aleathia said, Kat, I want you to, direct this movie because Carolyn says she'll put us in the festival. So I'm like, all right, cool, bet. So she paid me. Like, this was a gig. I know how to use a camera. I know how to edit. I could tell a story. Like, this was not my project. This was her project, and she was paying me for it. So we did a screening before we submitted the festival, and people feedback was good. Everybody liked it. They had their issues. They told us what their issues was. We fixed it. So last year we did a screening for Women's Month at a gallery in Harlem, and that was kind of private but public. And from however, the universe got it. The longest running Black film festival in America, the United States. So it's the Newark Black Film Festival. It's 44 years old. They emailed us and asked us to showcase our film during their summer festival, and they were paying us. What?
Wow, that's huge. And that's what you mean by it was just kind of falling into place.
So now I'm at this festival, full-blown theater, packed, 2 floors outside, full to capacity. My movie on a big screen. Yo, I'm tripping because I'm like, what the fuck?
Like, what's going on? Like, who's this?
And because they did a panel, I'm on the panel as a director. And I'm like, what the fuck? So now I'm on this panel, yo, I'm hyped because I'm like, yo, I'm a director, right? I was like, okay, I'm a director, I'm a storyteller. That works, I got it. But that gave me like confidence, like, wow, I'm a fucking filmmaker, I'm a director, I'm a storyteller. And that happening. So full circle. Yesterday I was meeting with my script writer for a new web series that I'm starting to film in a couple of months. And she's listening to the story, and she's watching the story as she meets me, and sees me online. And she's like, yo, Kat, do you know how rare? Yo, Ashley, I have only been in the media, television, and film for 3 years. For 3 years.
See, that's
my
what
television.
I'm saying. Like that's unheard of because these people that direct, they go through 40 years sometimes of proving themselves in this hard, grueling work. But that's how you know it's meant to be. You know what I mean? That you were able to it was divine. It was divine. That's all you can say. It was divine.
Yep.
And it was meant to be. That's amazing, though. That's amazing. I had no idea. See, because when you said you were doing a documentary, I just thought maybe this is something that you've been doing. Because a lot of people, they go from kind of the front of the camera. Because I actually was doing some of this. I got into filmmaking at one point, and it not necessarily as like a life calling, just something I was interested in learning. And a lot of people start from the front side doing like modeling or acting.
Right.
And which
is what I did.
Passion. Yeah, so and then you discover the passion for film, but to move up in 3 years like that it was meant to be. Like, and it's obviously a powerful message that people need to hear because people are grabbing onto it.
Right. And I left the industry because I did, when I was 19, 18, I was a model and a dancer, but I did those things so that I could be a stylist, a creative stylist. Like, I always was someone, like I said, in production who wanted to run the structure of things. But that was 20 years ago. You know what I'm saying? And in those 20 years, I've had evolved. My career has went so many different levels. So for now, 20 something years later, for something I felt like I fell into almost, and to be like, no, you following your calling, it's coming full circle to you. It's like, oh wow, like, okay, God, I see how you work.
Yeah, like
You know
this,
what I'm
like
saying?
this is what
I
this
see how
feels like. Wow.
feel.
No, but I think that's an important message that people need to hear too, though, is that when you are following whatever it is that your life is supposed to accomplish, one, it's not forced. It's not usually a forced thing. And two, it's not generally that difficult. You know what I mean? If you're following the steps that are lit for you, it's kind of like, it's like you said, it falls into place. And I think
Yep.
people that have discovered that calling and they have done, I'm not saying there's not obstacles, because there's absolutely still obstacles, but they seem so
There is,
small
honey.
because you know that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. This is what your calling is, So that's an important message, because so many people, I think, again, they have that fear. They have that fear. They don't want to jump in and just go with it, even though they know this might be what they need to be doing for the rest of their life. It's like, they have this fear, so they stick with whatever is safe because they're afraid it won't fall into place. And it's crazy. If you're doing what your calling is, what your passion is, it's going to fall into place because you're going to be looking for those opportunities.
Yep. And then when that happens, because the fear is real, even every one of us that goes beyond it, we're still fearful. But I think you realize that you don't have a choice. That's what it actually ends up coming to. Like I wish I could do something else, because something else might be easier. But I'm not. That's not what I'm here to do. So instead of keep fighting it, again, I only have that second of existence. And it's about self-preservation. So instead of fighting it, what does it look like for me to surrender and really embrace it? Like, you got to think about, again, the movies. What Matrix, what was the real message? The message was listening to what's around us. You know what I'm saying? Because it all matters. It all is relevant. Even the movies Final Destinations, those movies would fuck me up, because now I'm looking for the house I want it. But you get wanted.
Yeah, it makes you think, like what, you never know when that last little bit is going to be up. I mean, you could go to sleep tonight happy as could be, and nobody knows tomorrow. So that's why you got to live every second to the beat of like what it is that you are on fire about.
And they say that, they say it like, oh, that doesn't mean that's just, what people say. But no, like, really, that you got to take every opportunity that we're given. And if that means jumping, not literally, but jumping, that's what I think. Like, people get nervous about the Bible. And the Bible itself says that it's just there. I'm sorry, my phone is going off. The Bible itself says that, it's there to, let me not misquote. All scriptures are inspired for teaching, right? Like, like a guide, like a lesson for us to know as a reference where we can go to. And when we have scriptures as reference, like in Matthew, where it tells us that, don't worry for tomorrow, because the birds eat. So why wouldn't you eat? When you have things like that kind of reiterating, those are the messages that help us understand that I got you. You know what I'm saying? Like, just enjoy. I got you. And I don't mean that means being an entrepreneur. That whatever that is, that means the garbage man, that means the dentist, that means the school teacher, because you can have your your day-to-day unhappiness, but you can have happiness in those professions if you're happy at home, if you're happy with yourself, if you're happy with your surroundings. So it's not the job or what you do for a living, how you live.
Yeah.
Period.
You're so right about that, because it doesn't mean that, you have to go off and make up your own thing and start your own thing. It's just wherever you are, find that place of happiness, and be okay with right now. You don't have to always, 20 years from now, what's going to be my life? Just live in the now. So that's amazing stuff. I'm really excited to see the showcase, whatever they do on their updates. I'll be following because I'm off tomorrow. Wait, no, tomorrow's Thursday. Look, see, I'm losing it already. I'll be at work, but that's okay because I'm still going to tune in. It's that important, but I'm excited to see.
Because I need you guys to look. Because let me tell you what's happening. So on Saturday, they're previewing what they're doing. So we're the first batch of artists that not the guinea pig, but like we setting it off so that everybody knows like this organization called It's the Bronx, that they're gonna bring fire every month to the Bronx. So we like setting it off.
Yes.
But in March, they're having a 3-day festival of artists. So they're voting based on how many of you guys out there vote on Saturday. And the only way to vote is by liking and commenting. So everybody got to be like, yeah, Kitty Rose, Kitty Rose, Kitty Rose.
I will definitely put that in there. I'll get everybody I can on that, because I think it's just such an amazing message, and I think it resonates so much with like I've used the word trending, but it's not necessarily trending. It's just like a realization. We're starting to have this realization more and more. And so people are getting on board with those messages, and I think that's important. We need to share that. We need to lift that up because it's real. It's real.
No doubt. And I guess that's why we do Taboo Talks, because it's real.
That is, yeah. So that's the reason I was excited to have you on here, especially when you said that your communication form is art, because like Taboo Talks for me, I follow actually quite a few of different taboo channels, because there's going to be multiple of us out there. The world is not scarce for the people that you can reach and talk to. But what I appreciate is we all have a different way of showing the taboo, or things that people are uncomfortable talking about. So for me, my I guess forte, what I really am passionate about is just communication in general. So whatever that may be. Some people, they get frustrated because if you think of like an argument that somebody's having, and they say, well, you're just not communicating, and they are communicating. Communication is nonverbal also. It can be violent sometimes, but are you communicating productively and efficiently? So people will get frustrated because they're like, I'm telling you, like, and you're not listening, and or whatever the case is. But we are communicating always, all around us, with everybody, animals included. But are we doing that effectively? And that's why I wanted to highlight your documentary too, because art is a communication form, and it's a powerful communication form. It affects us and impacts us every day. So I thought that was important, because that's not something that not everybody speaks to art being their communication. You know what I mean? A lot of people reference it as a passion or a hobby, using words like that. But when you like brought up that communication is your is art, like your art film, specifically film, like I thought that was just powerful, because it is communication. It is absolutely communication. And that to me, that's what I'm passionate about. And that's why I wanted to have you on here so badly, to be able to talk about that and kind of the message that you're conveying through that art, which is film.
Well, I appreciate you. And I was excited to.
I appreciate you too. This was it's a divine thing, and I'm all about that, because I believe in it so much that I can't remember either which one of us followed first or how we even found each other. I started looking at your stuff, and I was like, man, this is, and I did get a little bit nervous, because on my podcast channel, I'm talking about some off the wall stuff. Like even this week, I have an interview coming up, and we're going to talk about open relationships, because that's something that's been around for ancient history and on, even in today's society. So we're going to kind of talk through that. But it was kind of refreshing to know that you have these views, and that you try your best to have this walk, you know what I'm saying? But to also showcase that you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to like shun out anything that you think contradicts what you may be passionate or believe in, and that is, to me, where communication is the most important, because unfortunately, I feel like today people feel that if somebody disagrees with the belief that you have, that they disagree with who you are at your core. And that's not the case. Even if you and I had this huge disagreement, we weren't on the same page. We're both moms. We're both women. You know what I'm saying? We're both like in our creative worlds. I'm doing the podcasting, and you're speaking through film. And so I think people don't realize that we have more connections and similarities than we do differences that actually relate us,
Really do. We really, really do. And all the things that you're going through at 24 and 25, Not so much that I say I've been there, but I have.
You have absolutely been here, and it doesn't have to be the same form, but you were
right,
here in this age,
right.
in this area, this mindset. It's
Mindset is key. That's what I need you to know. In that
Mhm.
mindset, because when older folks or older people or whatever, how even 5-10 years older, you can say that, but what does it mean? So I'm gonna give you just a clear. I don't want to take you forever because I know your audience. Some of my people already was like, all right, Kat, you talking too long. They left, but they'll come back. They'll come back. But like, okay, so what does that mean? I'm 24. I'm a young mom. All right. Me and a girlfriend was laughing about this yesterday. How old is your baby?
She is 1 year and a couple of months or a couple of weeks. January 30th, she'll be 1 year.
All right. Now, between you and I, everybody else close their ears. Between you and I, have you ever dropped your baby? Did she fall out the crib, the bed?
Not yet. Not yet, but I've come very, very close. And I had her by the little wrist. So, yeah, it's been very close. We're fortunate.
Okay. Right. I can guarantee you all of us have dropped our babies, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So when it happens, hey, so when it happens, don't be hard on yourself like you're the worst parent in the world, because my child turned out okay at 24 and you turned out okay and your parents dropped you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I mean. It doesn't have to be like major shit, but do you know how many young parents will guilt themselves for months because they thought they was the worst fucking parent in the world because they dropped their baby or they burnt the bottle? Like, everybody has like that dark cloud in the ceiling in the kitchen. What's that from? Because I burnt the bottle. Because I fell asleep.
Yeah.
All that shit over popped in the microwave. That shit is real. But instead of walking around with that guilt, nah, don't feel no guilt. Actually, when it happens, it's a rite of passage. It's okay. She's not gonna be brain damaged. It's fine. And that simple shit will go a long way, because now you won't have that guilt when it happens. Because it's gonna happen.
Yeah, you're right about that. You are right. And it's the little things too, because you want to be so perfect, but what is perfect even? You know what I'm saying? What is a perfect mother or a perfect father? Because, it's funny that you said that too before we wrap it up, because that's a big thing. I was making a list, because everybody has their, and I want to interview my mom one day. We're gonna talk, because every parent, and their child goes through their own battles, and things that should have been said or shouldn't have been said or what have you. But I was making a list of reasons when I was going through this journey of communication to talk to my mom and explain to her some things that I thought she did that really hurt me, right? And we all have this concept of, oh, I'm never going to do this that my parent did. I'm never going to be like this. But what I started realizing is I may not do the exact same things that my parents did, but my daughter's going to have a list for me one day when she gets older. And it's just,
and that's okay.
Yeah. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to do the best that you can, and keep moving forward. So when I realized that no matter what I do to try to be perfect, that she's going to have her list one day too, of things I should have said and things I shouldn't have said, I stopped stressing about it, because I was like, you know what? Like, she's going to have her list for me one day and we'll discuss it then. I'm just going to keep going.
Yeah. But how many of us gets that enlightenment? So it's fortunate, you know what I mean? And maybe through this journey and the conversations that you've been having in your own development, you've gotten a chance to see that. And that's one part of your life that at 24 you can be cool with, as you become this woman, as you become this mother, as you become this partner, as you become. And that's what I'm talking about. Like, everything doesn't have to be so monumental, but the little things end up being monumental, because the little things are all about how we love ourselves, how we treat ourselves, how we interact, how we feel. And when those things are not talked about because everybody's too busy in culture or tradition or work or distraction, then we lose where we don't have to. And all we're doing is losing time. Because anytime we think about things that we don't have to, we're losing time on what's important and valuable. Rather than having guilt about shit I can't control because it's just going to happen, then that time now I got back. You know what I'm saying? And it's only right that us in our 40s or 30s share that with our 20-year-olds so that they don't have to walk around with this guilt, because they're gonna still feel shit. And they're still gonna go through. Let them go through it, not let them go through the guilt of it. Don't tell kids, you know what I'm saying, that, you know, it's that they're okay. Don't, like, I'm gonna give you a perfect example, and then we go. My son, when he was 17, senior high school, they graduating. They happened to be really good kids. They were all like my son was in the 90th percentile all the way up to the 12th grade, and we thought at graduation he was going to get like 5, 6 awards, and I think he got 2 because the class was just that serious, that there was the competition. Like, these kids was about their academics, like they were, and they were close union friends. So they were good kids, and all of the parents, we kind of know each other because these kids has kind of been with each other since first grade, middle school. So it's a community type of school with what's going on. So I say all that to say, now I'm the parent that's talking, right? Listen carefully. My son, right? My son asked me for money to go to the supermarket because they having a graduation party. I'm like, yeah, all right, cool. He comes back from the supermarket and he has limes. What you got limes for? You 17. You got limes because y'all making drinks. Okay. Now we know they're going to drink. All of us know that. But now we really know because there's evidence that they're going to drink. So I reached out to all of the parents. Yo, y'all, they're gonna drink. Now the party almost got canceled, and I wasn't trying to cancel the party, which is what I explained to my son, and the other parents explained. Now we already know that the kids are gonna drink, but even now they know we know. So it's us being mindful what time they come home, who's a designated driver, how they're being responsible with their drinking. You're gonna do what you're gonna do. Y'all good kids, y'all smart kids. But now let's not take for granted as parents that just assume. Let's be mindful what time they coming home, who's with who, so it makes everybody accountable rather than the norm where everybody's just getting drunk and the parents think they don't know what's going on, or the parents want to rah-rah and shut everything down. Like, it wasn't necessary to do any of those things. What was good was that now we're all on the same page, because that's what's gonna happen. You guys are gonna fucking drink. We drank when we were 17 graduating. Don't
It's communication.
Like
that's all it is. It's communication. You know, and you're right. There is no reason to shut it down, you know, and that's a perfect opportunity to be able to show them if you're gonna drink, here's how to do it responsibly, you know. So I love that. I think that's so awesome.
Don't act like they're not gonna do it, and then we mad when we get the call from the police station. Nah.
Yep.
Got that your mama got that same ass call. You know what I'm
saying? She sure did. Matter of fact, I was 15 years old. She had to come pick me up and everything. So, and I was mowing the grass the next day. So that was my lesson learned. But it was rough. But you're right, you know, and that's the same kind of mentality I was thankful and fortunate to grow up with in my parents, that they knew I was going to do these things. You know, and instead of telling me not to, they opted instead to let me experience these things, but in a controlled environment where they knew what was going on. They knew the people involved. And I think it's communication, you know, and that's the important thing. Instead of shutting it down, let somebody flourish, you know, and learn how to do it responsibly. If they're going to do it, they're going to find a way to do it regardless if you let them or not. So that's crazy. Do you want to go real quick and tell everybody where they can find you, or if they want to reach out or support you, where they can go? And then I'm going to share it in the description as well.
Cool beans. Yes, you guys were awesome. Continue to follow Miss Ashley. She is doing some powerful things out here. We are encouraged by her. Follow me. I am Ms. Kitty Rose. That's MZKITTYROSE. You can Google me to find me on all social media platforms, because I have done the work and I am at the top of the Google search. So you can Google the Kitty Rose Lifestyle with a Y, and you can find my blog, you can find my website, you can find me on Facebook, you can find me on LinkedIn, because it's way too much to tell you what I'm doing. Because I will say this, when people say having different revenue streams of income, that doesn't mean having different revenue streams of income in all different types of industries. You can have different revenue streams of income within your industry. So there are a lot of projects that I'm a part of because of planting the seed, and now they are flourishing. So to find out what those things are, just Google me, Kitty Rose, Kitty Rose Lifestyle, or now what the young folks do, follow me on the gram, Ms. Kitty Rose, MZKITTYROSE. That's it, baby. And you'll see my movie. Go to my YouTube channel. You'll see my movie. You'll see the trailer this Saturday for everybody online, because that's where it matters. I'm really, like, I'm from Brooklyn, New York. I don't know if everybody else is like this, but New York is very territorial, right? In these 5 boroughs. So I got Brooklyn, the Bronx, Manhattan, Queens, Staten Island. I don't even know the rest because they just don't matter. It's really like Manhattan and Brooklyn and the Bronx. And Manhattan is really not even the borough. It's like Harlem. So it's Harlem, Brooklyn, and the Bronx. I'm from Brooklyn, but I live in the Bronx. But I never did any. I've been in the Bronx 20 years and did not do anything in the Bronx. My kids go to school here, but I don't rock with the Bronx. I don't know nothing about the Bronx. I don't rock. I fucks with Harlem and I fucks with Brooklyn. But these cats Saturday, it's the Bronx. They got property. They got real estate. They got marketing. They are really, they got some behind them. And they're really gung-ho about exposing Bronx artists. So I love when I see people passionately moving forward to help artists, to help people, to help communities. So I'm really excited about being a part of this venue. I definitely see me growing with them. It's the Bronx. It's going to be a monthly series, even if I'm just like their correspondent to introduce other artists. Because at the end of the day, that's what I am, a storyteller. I tell people stories because their story is our story. We're living all the same fucking life.
We are. We are. Yeah, we absolutely are. And I love that. I'm so excited. I hope, like, honestly, I really would love to have you on again one day and do a follow-up to all this stuff that's going on and just kind of where you're at in the project that you're working on and just what's going on.
Yes, definitely. And vice versa. Where are you, Ashley?
I'm in Georgia right now. So we just came from Kansas. We were stationed there. We moved to Georgia. So we are in Columbus area. Bought a house. So we're going to be settling. But I do want to get to traveling around and stuff. I'm actually from Jacksonville, Florida. That's my home.
Okay. I lived in Columbus, Georgia when I was 11 years old.
Really?
I did.
See, that's what I mean by it's a small world. Like, of all the places, all the cities, you're going to come to the same city. So that's it. Here we are. And, I love it here because it's a growing community. They do talk about some of the crime, but you're going to find crime anywhere. It doesn't matter where you are. And I love the community because it's growing and it's just such a positive vibe here. So we actually bought a house and we're ready to settle and kind of, stick our feet in the ground and do what we're passionate about. So yeah, that's where we're at. But I guess I'll go ahead and let you go because I know we'll probably sit here and talk the rest of the night.
But one last thing. My show is actually going on the road. So we might switch the camera, and I might be in Georgia, and I might have to do a natural sessions with you, Miss Ashley.
Yes.
So
and let me know because we have a huge, huge, huge military community out here that I think would benefit a huge deal off of your message and the life that you're leading,
You know what? I think that's something that looked like it's going to happen, Miss Ashley. Look at that. Look at how it's going to work.
All right, Miss Kitty Rose or Miss Catherine, whichever you really want to go by. I just call you Miss Kitty Rose because that's how I know you and met you, and I identify with you. So, good luck on Saturday. I mean, have fun with that. Good luck, and thank you so much for your time. Like, that's so amazing to me that you had the time and made the time to sit down and talk about this message.
Well, that also is discipline and balance, and that took time too. I have to respect we have to learn to respect our time and others people's time. So if you've got something scheduled and you're passionate about, you got to put the work in. And if that means you got to allow an hour or whatever that